I think anything with that raw honesty and just pure expression that's the essence of what blues is about, really. It's straight from the soul.
It's the Blues Rock Show with Pete Francis.
Welcome to the Blues Rock Show. Today I am joined by a special guest making his way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. He's one of the promising up-and-coming blues rock acts out of Canada, Marcus Trummer. Marcus, how are you?
Doing well. Really happy to be down here in the States and having fun already.
Yeah, so we're recording this for the Playing with Fire Festival in Omaha, Nebraska. This is just your second time in the United States playing. You have a pretty interesting story for your first time coming to the United States. Why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, well, being from Canada, it's close by, but obviously a bit of an uphill battle to get down here. So I ended up finding Telluride Blues and Brews Festival, having their blues challenge every year, and I thought I'd give it a go, enter in there, just get my foot in the door down here. We'd already been touring Western Canada and selling out shows in my hometown, but nothing down here could really bite, and didn't know how to get down here. So yeah, packed up the minivan, drove down to Colorado. This was 2 years ago, and just ended up competing in the challenge. Actually, I should say the funny point is that I was actually just going to go down and check out the festival, and I liked the lineup. I'd heard cool things.
Yeah, it's always a great lineup there.
Beautiful, location too, and it was actually my mom who told me about the blues challenge and was like, "Oh, you should maybe enter this." So I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go down." I already had a ticket actually to go check it out, and so. Yeah, I drove down there, competed, and I won in 2023. So then last summer, got to bring the band down, and we actually got to be on the lineup and play as part of the festival because I won the challenge the year before, and so that was our first official gig in the States. Pretty sweet first gig down here.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. You mentioned your mom. Are your parents musical? Did they play?
Yeah, I kind of come from like a family that had like encouraged music, but it's not like crazy, musical family. Just hobbyists. Both my parents are, my dad plays guitar, and he had the guitars laying around, and the mom's involved with like concert band community, stuff, but it was never like forced on me or anything like that. And that's how I kind of came to it on my own, when I was in my early teens, started messing around with my dad's guitars, and pretty much started writing my original stuff right away and wanted to perform. So took it didn't take long for me to take it to the open mics and stuff locally, before I could even really play. But
tell me about the first experience of picking up a guitar, and then what made you say, "Man, this is what I want to do"?
Yeah, I think some of the early experiences were just plugging in the electric and just feeling the power of that, right? And making a lot of noise. It probably sounded terrible and wasn't very musical. I also remember playing like with the slide, and my dad would like strum, and I would move the slide around and stuff like that. It then took me, when I was actually serious about playing, tried out the classical kind of approach and the scales, and I think I quit after, one lesson, and then I had to come back to it on my own and do the more self-taught route, slowly get in, to some of these more rock bands, and, you find Nirvana, then you find the White Stripes, and the Black Keys, and then you go down that route, and then soon enough, I got into the blues and soul music, and that really struck a chord with me. And when you look back, it was kind of there in the beginning still, but over time I've kind of gone back to the roots, and then I've kind of come back out of that, and now I'm kind of doing a thing where I kind of synthesize all the different branches that came from blues, if that makes sense,
Right.
Whether it's R&B, funk, soul, rock, all these things are fundamentally blues, and I'm kind of finding my lane, somewhere in the cracks, in the the gray area between it all.
Yeah, for sure. And you're a young guy too, so I'm curious, how big of an impact has YouTube had on you as a guitar player? I mean, did you go to YouTube for lessons? Did you go to YouTube for inspiration?
Yeah, definitely huge. I mean, the fact that you can go and watch videos from like concerts in the 60s and like B.B. King live back in the day, and just the inspiration you get from that has been incredible. And yeah, being self-taught, I think early on you look for some tutorials on how to play these songs, but then it just turns into an open library of inspiration, and that's definitely been huge for me. It's something I guess you take for granted, growing up always having access to that.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about some of the artists right now, who are at the top of their game, maybe in their 40s or 50s, and they didn't have that same luxury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would have only known certain influences maybe, and that's where for me it's a little bit broader, and I went through different phases where I was checking out the whole Southern rock aspect of things, and then I got into like hip hop and R&B, neo soul, and sometimes if you wouldn't have that, you just know whatever your friends showed you, and so it's kind of given me a little bit more of a complex base to draw from. Sometimes it can be challenging when you're trying to market yourself, but
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because with all the tools that are out there with YouTube and all the ways you can get lessons, the ability for a young guitar player to really kind of accelerate their growth compared to, say, artists 20, 30 years ago. I mean, someone can get really, really good in a year.
Yeah, and it definitely evolved fast for me, I would say. Started out kind of, more making like kind of Southern rock inspired stuff, like in a way, like I love all that stuff, Allman Brothers Band, and just over time my songwriting kind of evolved, and now I don't try to limit myself to anything really. I just write and try to express what I want, and then figure out what to call it after.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is, especially today's day and age, I think blues music definitely has to evolve. And I think one of the things that like our website is doing, and there's a lot of artists like you who take blues influences, but you go in different directions. And a lot of blues artists, get labeled, or there's the blues police, and people say that that's not blues, and it's like music needs to evolve, and so I don't see why some people get so hung up on that.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I mean, everyone can have their own taste and their own
right
opinions. I would say like what I'm doing is I feel more in line with like the feeling of blues, because I'm just trying to write like from a pure, authentic place,
Right.
about my struggles, and it's kind of like the modern blues.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be like blues guitar to beat blues.
No, yeah. That's what I was saying. I think it's like some rap music. It's like it's blues. You know, when you think about the topics they were writing about, the emotion that it comes from. You know, I think anything with that raw honesty and just pure expression that's the essence of what blues is about. Really, it's straight from the soul. You know,
exactly.
That's what matters most to me. I think in all music. You know,
right. Talking about influences, guitar players. Who are some of the guitar players that have really influenced you?
I mean, the Kings are like huge for me. You know, like at different times. You know, Freddie King, Albert, BB. Like it. I think just the tone and then the emotion behind the playing are two, huge factors for me. I've never been into like the shredders or anything like that. Just the guys that put that much passion in, like today, like, guys like Derek Trucks carrying that same thing forward. I mean, you could shred a bit too. But,
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah. I've always tried to follow that approach. There's some Canadian, another slide, Joey Landreth.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Great player that I've been inspired by.
More people need to hear about Joey's playing and just the brothers Landreth in general.
Yeah, totally. They were a huge influence on me, especially, I'm from Western Canada there as well. So it's cool to find. You don't find a lot of this kind of music coming out of Canada in general, actually. So to find anything remotely related to, blues or American roots music has been inspiring for me up there. So yeah, Brothers Landreth were huge too. Yeah,
tell me a little bit more about the blues rock scene in Canada. There are some pretty good acts out of Canada right now.
Yeah, and like it's a very small scene, but then it gives you the opportunity. You can go out to Europe, and you can go to the States too. It's a nice place to be based in between those two. And yeah, I mean, I found growing up there was actually a lot of mentorship locally. Even some guys that had moved up from Chicago that had been playing down there, who had met, Canadian women, got married and stayed in Canada. So there is a bit of that history that gets brought up to up north, but the culture is a bit different, I would say, and so sometimes I do feel a little bit misunderstood or out of place at times, but carry forward. I think in any regard you would be when you're so into old school music as opposed to maybe pop,
Right.
So yeah, it's been good. It's definitely looking forward to getting out more and more and just being on the road, meeting new people. Here we are in Omaha, never know where I'll end up, right?
Yeah, for sure. Being a younger guy, I'm curious to get your thoughts. What do you think it will take to get more young people listening to this type of music?
I mean, I think the exposure in person is like the biggest thing. These days, people listen to music online and they scroll through their social media feeds. But a lot of those artists aren't going to be that good live. If all is social media and that, it's not the same as a band who's been playing live their whole career. And then I think there is maybe a shift happening in our culture where there is kind of that longing for connection and authenticity and just something real. And so, yeah, we just, young guys like me playing it, get them out. And I think once people see this stuff in person, it definitely changes your mind. You know, it might not be on your playlist, you know, when you're driving to work or whatever, but to get out to a festival in the summer, or go see a band, I think that's where, you know, blues and soul and, you know, all this music really is going to carry forwards, because you can't fake that, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to, you know, trying to carry the torch forwards, you know, in my own way, you know, and do my thing, and you know, over time attract the people to me that, you know, are interested in that for sure. So
What do you think is the biggest challenge for musicians in 2025?
That's an interesting one. I think it's kind of like the Wild West, you know what I mean? It's there's no real set way to do things, which is blessing and a curse. I think it can be very confusing at times how to go about, you know, launching a career. You know, since I'm on the come up, right? Like, you know, you kind of have to do it all. Like, do we tour? Do we, you know, do content, you know, streaming, where we're still selling vinyl, and like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like all over the place, and then like publicity, like, you know, it's spreading the word is constantly changing, and so just keeping up with that is tough. But at the same time, with it being so wide open, I think anyone can do it, right? And it doesn't really matter where you're from either, because we're all interconnected. And, you know, one thing you're in Canada, and next thing you're, you know, playing Telluride Blues and Brews Festival, and, you know, now you're on the road, and one thing leads to the next. You know, it's not like you have to know someone or get discovered or be seen. You know, you have to move to whatever, New York or LA or whatever. So yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying kind of carving my own path.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the social media aspect, you're right. I mean, anyone can get seen these days. Do you like the social media aspect of it, or is that a lot to have to kind of think about? I'm putting out music, but I also have to put out content.
Yeah, I don't mind like the work aspect of anything like that. It's more just the it does feel like it's not a real connection with someone. You know, you'll get comments on there, people saying I love what you do, and it's not the same as like an in-person, you know.
Yeah.
Someone showing up to your show, someone shaking your hand, you know. So I think it's a great to get the word out there initially, but for me it's always been about the live aspect, and that's kind of why you know, we're just trying to get in the van and go and get out there and play for people, and you know, you can't beat that in-person connection, and also just as a performer too, because there's nothing to hide behind.
Right.
So that's what it's all about for me, you know.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people, you know, that really love this type of music, love blues rock. I think one of the issues is the fact that these people are just spread out all over the world. Mm-hmm. You know, so you kind of see that interaction on the internet, but then it's like once you actually speak to one of those people in person, then it, you know, it really kind of registers.
Yep. Yeah. No, there's I definitely believe in, you know, there's people out there, you know, for everyone, you know, and you just got to find those people, connect with them. And yeah, I've been, you know, super happy with how my album was received, you know, initially putting out the debut. I wasn't sure what to expect. We've got some good, quite a lot of, you know, support from overseas in the UK and Europe and even Australia and stuff, right? And I wasn't expecting that, so that's definitely the power of, streaming and the internet and all that, which is cool.
So obviously you're pretty early into your career. I'm sure there's a lot of guitar players that you'd like to play with at some point and share the stage with. Who would be some of them?
Oh man, I mean it'd be cool just to get on stage with like any of like Gary Clark Jr. maybe, like someone like that is like was one of my heroes initially. I just thought he was cool, and also not just as a guitar player but as like a songwriter and an artist, and everything about that. I'm not trying to be just a guitar player. I'm also trying to be singer songwriter, and so I feel like I would connect well with him, and that'd be a dream for sure. But I mentioned Derek Trucks earlier too. Huge inspiration on the guitar. Might be a little intimidating, but it'd be sweet. That's the great thing about this music too, is the collaborative aspect. The fact that you can hop on stage and jam, get right into a song.
Yeah, I think you and Gary would be a good collaboration because you guys both mesh a lot of different styles: blues, rock, soul, a lot of different elements in there.
Yeah, no, big fan of his songwriting. I like the fact that he's evolved too over time. Each album is different. Even within an album, there's stuff for different people, and not everyone's gonna like all of it. But to me, there's so much complexity to what he does, and any great artist over time has evolved. When you think about like Prince or Stevie Wonder or any of these legends, to me that's the mark of like a real artist.
Yeah, and sometimes Gary, I think, gets a little bit of flack for not being blues all the time, but I think what he's doing is really cool because he's taking blues influences and meshing it with a lot of different styles. And he's one of the few artists really to break through into the mainstream and kind of expose people to this music. So I think Gary is really kind of a gateway artist for a lot of people to discover a lot of other blues rock artists.
Totally. Yeah.
You mentioned Derek Trucks a couple times. Like, what specifically is it about Derek and his playing that really resonates with you?
For me, it's the soulfulness. Again, I'm big on tone too. So just from a technical standpoint, I think tone is the first and most important thing. And so any of the guitar players that I really like these days, whether it's Trucks or Gary or Marcus King, or the tone is the first thing and then it's that expressiveness, right? That I find just so important. I've never been into just noodling, that kind of thing, or showing off how crazy you can play. It's more about does it make you feel something? And anytime I've seen Derek Trucks live, it's like you can feel that emotion. Yeah. And that's what I try to do with my playing too. I'll never be the craziest shredder, and that stuff's cool. It's cool to check out for an hour or so, but the stuff I always come back to is the stuff that really touches you, and that's whether it's lyrics, whether it's the playing, or the vocals. To me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, we've talked about guitar. Let's talk about vocals and songwriting. Who are some of your influences there?
Oh, I think singing wise, it's just gonna be across the board. All genres. I don't try to emulate after anyone because I just want my voice to be me. In a way. But I mean, I've been to a lot of different styles in terms of songwriting too that have influenced me, like some of the great like rock, like Tom Petty, the simplicity of that definitely taught me a lot about writing choruses or hooks, and then big on like James Taylor and like some of the Jackson Brown and stuff like that, coming out of, again, the more folk rock world, and finding a way to bring that to soul, which I think there's a lot of great soul songwriting as well, whether it's, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, or any of that stuff. Not only is great lyrically, but also musically. So, yeah, it's kind of all over the board.
If someone was just discovering you, just getting into your music, how would you describe your sound?
I would say I make soul music. That's what I would say. I make it's soul rooted in blues, if that's what you want to call it. It's that feeling of just raw, expression. I try to write from personal experience and just throw my heart out there and do the same when I play. And I hope that comes across, and just looking to spread positivity and connection. Bring different people together, because we all have a lot of the shared experiences, shared struggles, and no matter who you are, where you come from, I think music is something that we all can connect and bond over, and it doesn't have to be dividing, and it's what I'm all about, I guess.
Yeah. I ask a lot of musicians about this because it's been such a hot topic. AI right now in music. I mean, the way it's evolving, it's crazy how fast things are changing, especially in the music industry. What are your thoughts on AI in music right now?
Yeah, I think it's a bit scary, I think the technology is just it's such a different thing to real life, and when you get off the screens and into the real world, all of a sudden things are normal, but then you go online and everything's crazy, and I think it's something we got to get back to basics, and when you get out again, like going back to live music and how important that is, that's something I don't see that is going away. You can't replace that. So even if some, computer AI generated music ends up on your playlist or whatever, and some people might like it, you can't replace the in-person live music experiences. And the deeper we go into that, dystopian internet world, I think the more people are going to need, get out and connect and see something real. And so, I have a lot of hope for the future, and I think, it might cause us to wake up to that road we're going down, and maybe pivot, gain a little bit of wisdom, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the future, Marcus, what's next for you?
We've got some festivals in Canada this summer, and I'll be coming back to the States a little bit later this year, doing a couple gigs, and the plan is to continue on the road, and I'm working on the next album right away. So first one's out. If you haven't checked it out, it's called From the Start, and it's got a some blues, got some soul, R&B, even a little rock. The last song, go a little crazy, just to shake things up a little, and kind of leaving the door open for where I go with the next album, what direction. We're playing new songs out on the road already, so
oh wow,
I'm excited.
Yeah, from the start, definitely a great album, so make sure to go check that out. Any final thoughts, Marcus, before we let you go?
No, not really. I'm just excited to be down here, and we'll hopefully be back a whole lot more soon. So,
all right, thanks for your time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's Marcus Trummer. I'm Pete Francis. This is the Blues Rock Show. We'll see you next time.